Good evening, traders. Good evening, account builders, and good evening, everyone in between. It's Ant-Man here, and in this video, I'm going to be reviewing a couple of plays that I will potentially be looking at for tomorrow. Kind of like I did in yesterday's video. I said I will be trying to do more of these videos for you guys to try and get my thoughts out there and see if I, have anything that can be helpful for you. So I do apologize for getting it out this late at night. It is around midnight Eastern Standard Time. I had to run into the city today to handle an appointment, and I hate going into the city. It is such an arduous task. I can't stand it. I don't drive down there. You walk to the train, you wait for the train, you take the train, you walk. It's plus the 25-degree cold and the 15-mile-an-hour winds. It was just not fun. So I did get back home after a couple of hours. I was chit-chatting with some of the guys in the room, answering some DMs, and then I just passed out, and I was just I was wiped from the day. It kind of kicked my ass today a little bit. So with that said, let's get right into this. The first one that I have up here, I am carrying over a couple of plays from yesterday's list. As you recall, yesterday we had PCG, Nflx, JPM, and QCOM on the list. I'm carrying over PCG and Nflx, and I will get into why. PCG is not going to be a main watch tomorrow. I said it's not going to be a main watch. With the news that was released about them possibly filing for bankruptcy, and the fact that the more I'm digging, the more I'm seeing that they are being held quite liable for all the having a hand in the wildfires out in California, and their liabilities were reported today to be in excess of $30 billion with the B. So all these things, very not good things to hear. Not good for the stock, not good for investors. These things that the street does not want to hear about a stock. So what I will be doing is just keeping an eye on these levels. Anyone that saw the watch list, anyone that was in the room said that I have the $20 level right here. I made it purple because it is a very significant level. If you go back to like the very, very, very beginning, you can see that the $20 level, I pulled a little too much, has been well respected going back into the mid-80s. You can see how many times it gets respected, and it acts as support and resistance, and it gets tagged there and here and a lot of different places, and up until PCG finally got this big bull run up here. But in any event, let's see. Let's just go into the intraday for a second. I did make the come on, I just do it this way. Bingo. There we go. I did make the call today that I've to watch that 20 very carefully for the short, and as you can see, it came tagged 20 perfectly and gave you $1.20 a share on this. This was a beautiful short. I personally did not take this play here, but I do know a couple guys that did get in on this, and I'm very happy for them that they did get in on this play here. So it did set up quite nicely. So I will have PCG up tomorrow on a side chart, just to see if all this bad news is baked into the price action and it's just gonna, do its thing, or if the shitstorm hasn't happened yet. That's what I'm really waiting to see. Patience does pay in this industry. So I had said in yesterday's video that Monday might not be the day for the huge sell-off. Monday might not be the day for the bottom to fall out, if it does fall out at all. This could be something that may take a day or two or three, as the larger institutions have these huge, and as you can see, not to get off track, but this is almost 87% institutionally owned. So the big hedges, the big banks that have stock in PCG have huge positions, which they cannot unload in a matter of a day, like you and I can just we have 100 shares and we hit the sell button and boom, we're done. They have hundreds of thousands of shares, even million share positions that they cannot just dump on the market. They have to unload them slowly, which is the reason why I will be keeping this on watch. In case that news about the bankruptcy and the liability and everything else is not baked into the price action, we may have a really nice play coming up for us going into the middle of the week, maybe the end of the week, if it follows along with how I'm thinking. Here on the daily chart, we can see that if this 1720 area lets go, goodbye. There is nothing. There is nothing for quite some time. I'm going back now almost a decade. There is nothing below 1726. So if all this news is not baked into the price action and this starts selling and this gets to 1726 and this can't hang on, this is going to be a beautiful play. Do I know it's going to be a beautiful play? No. It's speculation, but that's what this is. This purple line here, just FYI, just ignore it. This is one of my custom e-signal scripts for pre-market high and pre-market low, and I haven't figured out how to code it not to show on my daily chart. So just ignore this. This is not support and resistance. This is not a price level. It's my pre-market low. For some reason, it shows at the bottom of my daily chart, and I'm trying to work that out, but that's neither here nor there. Just letting you guys know that if you're looking at my chart here, this is nothing to be concerned with at all. This is just open black chart underneath 1726. Next up on the list is Nflx, which I am carrying over from yesterday's watch list. This thing is gotten crazy extended right now. You can see it's coming into the 100 SMA right here, this beige line. And my idea is very similar to Pat's idea on this. He had mentioned the 320 area. I have the 322.36 area marked, so 320 to 322 on a $300 stock. It's basically the same area, and when we talk about support and resistance, that we do talk about zones. They're not hard and fast lines. It's not 322.36 is not the area. It is a general area around that price point. So it could be 322, it could be 323, it could be 321.80. So to have a range from the 320s to the low 322s on a $300 stock is a very nice tight range to look for some topping action for a short. Which is, if it gaps up, let me talk about gapping up first. If it gaps up, it'll probably come above this 100 SMA. It might even gap above this 322 level. I don't know how big the gap is going to be tomorrow if it does gap, but if it's a sizable gap, what I will probably be looking for is an exhaustion gap play on this. It probably will come up and test the 200 SMA right here, this yellow line at 332 and a half, 332.30 area. And if any of you don't know what an exhaustion gap is, let's take a look at Tilray when it ran into 300. This is an exhaustion gap. This is a very, very exaggerated exhaustion gap, but basically what it is, it's one last final push to really get to the highest price possible when you're in a nice, strong trend. An exhaustion gap usually signals the end of the trend, which is exactly what happened here on Tilray. We had this humongous gap up, a run right into 300, almost to the penny, and then this thing just died. So, I'm not saying it's going to be a crazy move like this on Nflx, but if there is a sizable gap in the market tomorrow morning, that's kind of what I'd be looking for. A true exhaustion gap happens on extremely elevated volume. Relative volume will be very high tomorrow. So if I see a sizable gap up and I see pre-market activity where there are a lot of shares being traded on Netflix, I'm gonna be even at the bell. If I see a huge volume spike, I'm gonna be thinking exhaustion gap and the 200 SMA. If we have a gap down on Netflix, I'm gonna be looking for some type of pop and drop. All depends on where it gaps down to. Right now, you can see this blue and the red. This is the bid and the ask right now. Last print was 315.34. So it's right in this area here. If this does gap down above the 310.75, I will look for that to hold as support and then pop up and test this 100 SMA and the high of day. Maybe the 322. I mean, like it's really hard to say right now because it's such a rangy stock, and we are playing with the wide bar candle here, so wide bodied candle. If it does gap below this 310, then I will be looking for a pop into this 310 area, maybe to yesterday's close for a drop. This is one that is very market dependent because it does follow the market. It can do its own thing from time to time, but I will be looking for some type of short play on this tomorrow. Next on my list is Ntap, and what we have here is a nice wedge forming on the daily chart right here. Price action is right at the apex of the wedge. It does need to pick its direction tomorrow. If I move this to Wednesday, we're already on the peak. So I think tomorrow we should see some type of directional move on this. If we do gap up tomorrow, right now it's a little spready, so it's really hard to say. Last print was 59.13, which is right about here. So if it does gap and it gaps up above this 59.33 level, I'm going to be looking for the 60 level to reject. Run up into 60, get just above this trend line here. Start to top out and fail. The next level up would be this 60.82, possibly the close of this big candle here at 60.36. So those are two other levels to keep in mind. If the 60 does break to the upside, we do have this level here and this level here, and this 60.82 does coincide with the 20 SMA right here, this gray line. If this gaps down, depending where it gaps down to, I will be looking for some type of pop and drop. This 58.50 area looks like a nice area here to hold the support if it does gap down. You have this wick here, this wick, almost this wick, and this wick here. So this 58.30, 58.40, mid 58s is a nice area to look for support if it does gap down. Either way, I am kind of short biased on Ntap. It does have a bear flag. If you pull it out a little bit, you can kind of see, if I use a different color trend line, you can kind of see the bear flag going on, down, up, and now I'm just waiting for the next leg down. Let's see, what else do I have on this? And we also have a nice, sorry guys, it's just late and I'm tired, so if I'm skipping thoughts and I'm saying a lot, I'm just, I'm going off the cuff here, and I'm just, trying to stay awake, because it was a long and taxing day for me today, so my apologies if I do sound a little off kilter right now, or if I miss a thought. We do have a nice bearish looking doji here on Ntap, and where was I going with that thought? Oh yeah, and I'm trying to kind of formulate where this is going, what's happening next, and you can kind of see it's got this rolling look to it, like it's put in its top, and if you follow my cursor, it kind of just wants to roll and continue on its next leg down. So that's what I have for you on Ntap, HSIC. As you can see, it's almost the same setup as Ntap. In fact, this is kind of what I'm imagining happening on Ntap. Ntap's kind of right up here. This is kind of formed a little more. If I go back, if you just keep this part of the chart in mind, you can see this is kind of forming that same look as HSIC, and that's what I'm looking for in Ntap. So in HSIC, like I said, we also have nice bear flag here that broke. The bear flag here did break, and we have this consolidating at lows, and that's what caught my eye, was the consolidation at lows, which is usually a sign of weakness. And if I pull out here, you can see that this looks like it wants to let go. It's got this bearish looking doji candle. It was a weak pullback and a very strong downtrend, and it looks like it's setting up for its next leg down. If the 73.30 level does break, we do have room down to 71.90. And I believe the ATR on this stock is something like 2 or 3, so 71.90 is very feasible tomorrow, or any day that it does trade. So what I will be looking for, last print 74.15, which is right about here. If we gap up tomorrow, I will be looking to see where we gap up to. If we can have a pop and a drop either into this 75.20 or the 76.10, which is right aligned nicely with the 9 EMA, that light blue cyan colored line. And if it does gap down, I would hope that it would gap down under 73.70 so that it can run up, bump its head into this level, and then top out and roll over. If it gaps down and finds support at 73.70, I'm not going to be interested until I see some type of topping action where I can get into a short position on HSIC. And the last one we have here is AGN. What I'm seeing on AGN, it is getting a little bit extended to the upside. It did put in this hammer candle, which is normally a buyer's signal, and it is holding the 20 SMA. But what I am looking for tomorrow on this, see how it did get sucked into the gap right here? I'm looking for a gap fill and a rejection of this 147 area. We have these couple of wicks right here at this 146, which is a nice whole number, as well as 147 is a nice whole number. So it could tap out right here at this 146 area as well. Technically, the gap fill is closer to this 146.80, 147 area. But depending on the weakness tomorrow, I will be keeping my eyes on both these areas here for some type of weakness, so I can get into a short on this. And yeah, that's all I got for you. And we'll see tomorrow what we have popping on the gap scanner, and any news that comes out, and anything that's going on in the morning that will help me decide what will be my final watches for tomorrow morning. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them in the comment section down below. I've also posted my Twitter handle down there. You can also reach out to me on Twitter. My handle is @TheTonyManji. And if you want to learn how to formulate trade plans like this, how to chart, how to trade properly, come on by TrickTrades.com and check us out. I'll leave a link in the description below as well. And I think that's all I got for you guys tonight. So it's been a long day for me. Like I said again, if the video wasn't up to par, or my speaking wasn't up to par, if I sound like a rambling moron, my apologies. I said I had a long day. I'm just really wiped from a long, cold day in the city, and it's just not my thing, not my cup of tea. So that said, I will hope you guys have a great night, have a great day tomorrow trading, and I'll catch you all on the flip-flop. Ciao.